Hi, welcome to my website. I'm going to show you how to make a delicious meatloaf. Now I'm going to give you choices so you can make the meatloaf more your style. Okay, so let's start with the ground beef. Okay, I use 2 pounds of ground beef, 80-20. You probably don't want to use anything with less than 15% of fat. Anything less than that, the meatloaf's going to get kind of dry. Now, if that's what you prefer, like a 90-10, then you could put in ground turkey, ground pork, which will put some of that moisture back into the meatloaf. Even with the ground beef, instead of using 2 pounds of ground beef, you could use 85-15 and also incorporate the ground turkey or the ground pork, to whatever proportion you want to use it, and then till you have about 2 pounds of meat, which would probably be about 1 pound of ground beef, half a pound of ground pork, and half a pound of ground turkey. Whatever you want to do. So next is your egg. I like a meatloaf, I like it to be firm, that when I'm slicing it, it stays together. So I would recommend 3 eggs. And now this recipe I made today, that has 2 eggs in it. And the meatloaf was like pretty firm, but and you could slice it, but when I was slicing it was kind of falling apart. So normally I like to use 3 eggs. Then I added breadcrumbs. Normally what I do, I use crustless bread. I use what I have in my drawer, probably about 3 slices of bread, or 2 Italian rolls. You can use wheat bread. You can use whatever you like, whatever flavor of bread you like. You just use about 3 slices. You tear them up in a bowl and you soak them in milk. Like make sure they're nice and soaked in milk. And you're going to take that, and that's going to go directly into the meat mixture. Next would be, like in this particular recipe, this is a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. I added half of this. It has no flavoring in it or anything. So it kind of kept the taste of the meatloaf mild. But if you wanted to kick it up, this is what I use in my meatloaf. This is Rotel. I used a mild flavor, but it will give it a robust taste. If you don't want something as sort of like in the middle, these are stewed tomatoes. It already has onions in it, celery in it, and green peppers. You can use probably half of this can. Or you can use diced tomatoes. I think they make basil diced tomatoes. You can use whatever you like. I'd use about 6 ounces of tomatoes to add into the 2 pounds. And here's a tricky one. This is roasted red pepper. Now this, you'd have to kind of give it a try on your own. If you'd like a real strong red pepper taste, you could possibly use half the can. But maybe you'd want to start out, if you're making meatloaf, take 2 tablespoons of that. And when you eat the meatloaf and it's not peppery enough, maybe next time add half the can. You got to try it and see what you like. Okay. So that's the meat, the breadcrumbs, the eggs, and now what you would put in as far as your seasonings. Now, a lot of people saute their vegetables, and in this particular recipe, I did not saute it. I added a small onion and garlic. And I put that directly into the meat. Now, a lot of times, you can saute it. You can take onions, green peppers, garlic, carrots. You can saute them in a pan, and you could just throw them right into to the raw meat then. And salt. This recipe called for 1.5 tablespoons of salt. That seems to bring out the flavor. You can add a little bit more than salt. That's up to you. That's something you're gonna have to try for each time you make a meatloaf. But this is a good start to making a meatloaf. So remember, if you want a more firm meatloaf, you'd want to add maybe 3 eggs. This recipe, it was firm, but when I cut it, it was falling apart. This recipe had 2 eggs in it. your bread, your saturated bread and milk, that would help to structure the meatloaf too, to help to hold it together. So give it a try. I'm going to let the recipe, I'll show you the recipe that I used, so you can add, give, take, whatever you want to do till it comes out to be your delicious meatloaf. So let's get started. I have 2 pounds of meat. I'm going to add a small onion, three and a half tablespoons of sour cream, add bread soaked in milk. Okay, I happen to use hot dog rolls because that's what I had laying around. You can use Italian bread, rolls from yesterday, whatever you want to use. And I soaked them in milk. There's still some, just so they're nice and wet. Okay, so you can put that in there. Two cloves of garlic. 3 tablespoons of ketchup. 1.5 tablespoons of Worcestershire sour sauce. This is tomato sauce. It was a 15-ounce can, so I used half of it. Put it in there. Salt and pepper. Now, it depends on how you like your meatloaf. If you like it really firm, you can add 2 eggs. I'm going to add 2 eggs because I like it firm. If you like it like more like it's falling apart, you can use 1 egg. You can use up to 3 eggs. Depends on how firm you want the meatloaf to be. Here's the fun part. We're going to mix this all around with our hands. I did wash my hands. Okay, it's getting mixed up. See how like I'm spreading it out like that, and there's everything seems all mixed up. There's not like pure hamburger in the center. Just lift it and turn it, kind of, because you don't want it all mushy. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let me look at the center. Yeah, it looks like all the ingredients are pretty mixed. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to take the meatloaf, kind of dump it into the pan so it's round. It's like a big meatloaf. Okay, this is optional. You can take the rest of the tomato sauce and dump it on top of the meatloaf, and then everything's good with bacon. So then we're going to put 3 slices of bacon on top. Okay, does that look good? Take that. You hold the bottom. Okay, so we're going to put this in the oven at 350 for 40 minutes. And then we're going to turn it up to 400 and cook an additional 15 minutes.